Okay, so let's talk about something we all probably learned in school, and let's be honest, maybe didn't love, summarizing. But what if I told you it's not a chore? What if it's actually a kind of superpower for truly understanding, well, anything?
I mean, have you ever had this happen? You read a whole page, maybe even a whole chapter. You get to the bottom and you have absolutely no idea what you just read. It's like the words just vanished. It's so frustrating, right? And look, it happens to literally everyone.
Well, the solution is a skill you already have, summarizing. But we're going to reframe it completely. Let's call it the art of distillation. Think about it like that. You're boiling away all the fluff, all the extra stuff, until all that's left is the pure, potent essence of the idea.
And here's the thing, this is probably the most important takeaway. The magic isn't the summary you end up with. Nope. The real power is in the process of making it. That's the whole point. It's all about the mental heavy lifting it takes to get there.
Yeah, and this quote just nails it. This is the big aha moment. Think about it. You can't possibly summarize something if you don't really get it. It's impossible. So the very act of trying to summarize forces your brain to wrestle with the material, to make the connections, to actually learn. This is exactly why just grabbing a summary off the internet or reading the pre-made version just doesn't work. It's passive. It's like watching someone else lift weights and expecting to get strong. The real benefit, the deep learning, only comes when you are the one doing the work, when you're actively building your own summary. That's how you build that mental muscle.
Okay, so that's the why. But what about the how? How do we actually do this? Well, let's walk through a simple 4-step method that you can use on, well, pretty much anything.
So here's the game plan. 4 steps. First, find the main idea. Second, and this is maybe the most important part, you gotta write it in your own words. Third, we filter out all the unnecessary stuff. And finally, step 4, we refine it, make it super precise. Simple, right?
So let's tackle steps 1 and 2, because they really go hand in hand. You read the thing, and as you're reading, you're asking yourself one simple question over and over. What is the writer really trying to get across here? What's the one big idea? Then, once you have a hunch, you have to write it down. But, and here's the trick, using only your own sentences. No copying. That's the test. If you can't say it in your own words, you don't really get it yet.
All right, step 3, filtering. You know how authors use long introductions, lots of examples, and they repeat themselves? That's all great for helping you understand it the first time through, but for our summary, it's just noise. Our job is to slash it, get rid of the intro, the examples, the repetitions. We just want the bare bones of the argument. So after all that, you might end up with something kinda like this. You read it and think, yeah, that's basically it. It's not wrong, you know, but it's also not great. It's a bit clunky, a bit vague. We can call this an approximate summary. We can definitely tighten this up.
And that brings us to the final, crucial step, refining. You have to ask yourself this one tough question. Is what I wrote down exactly what the author meant, or is it just close enough? Pushing yourself from close enough to exactly, that's where the real magic happens. That's where you find true clarity.
And boom, look at the after. See that difference? We went from that long, kind of rambling sentence to something short, sharp, and powerful. It says everything the first one did, but better and in fewer words. That is distillation. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, this is great for my history textbook, but what about other stuff? Well, here's the cool part. This technique works for basically everything.
You just have to adjust your goal a little bit depending on the material. If you're reading an opinion piece, you're looking for the main argument and its support. For a science text, maybe you're trying to figure out cause and effect. And for a novel, you're tracking the character's story, who did what, and more importantly, why they did it. The target changes, but the method of distillation stays exactly the same.
So let's be clear, this whole thing is about way more than just taking shorter notes. When you really get good at this, it's like unlocking a new level. It gives you a kind of intellectual power.
So, if we were to distill this entire idea down, what would it be? Let's try it. Summarizing is the process of filtering out the noise to connect and consolidate the main ideas into just a few powerful sentences. It's an active process.
And when you do that, you get 3 amazing powers. First, you truly deeply understand the core message. Second, because of that, you can recall it perfectly weeks or months later. And third, and this is huge, you can now question it effectively.
That last one is so important, especially when you're reading someone's opinion. Once you've distilled their point down to its core arguments, you can really look at it, poke at it, and decide for yourself, hey, does this actually make sense? Do I have a good reason to agree with this? That, right there, is the heart of critical thinking.
So this isn't just a study tip. It's a tool for being intentional about what you learn. Our world is just overflowing with information and complex ideas. But now you have a framework, a method to distill any of them. So the real question is, what will you choose to understand?